We got I'm gonna call this meeting of IT to order for the month of May. Has everybody an opportunity to look at the minutes, and if so, would someone like to move? Sam and Dave, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, we have Terry here who is going to present her information technology report.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So for all I have this month are our standard reports. So I'll run through them. The projects report, I believe, is the first one you have in your packet. I don't have anything new on there for this month. It's a continuation of the projects we've been working on. Summer for us tends to be a lot of getting caught up and people taking a lot of vacations. And we're a little shorthanded at the moment, but we are on top of all the projects that we need to have moving. A lot of software projects going on right now. But any questions on the projects report at all?
No, nobody has any questions. Moving on.
The next report is the ticketing report. Anyone have any questions on that? Yeah, we have that's one of our software projects, and we're in the process of building out the new personnel application and migrating data. So that's a weekly meeting that includes one of our techs. So
This ticket report include all the different methods.
all the phishing stuff. Yeah.
They include that there, right?
Yep. Yep, all those tickets are included. This includes everything that we do, like whenever a ticket comes in to the ticketing system, it gets assigned to an engineer and then they have to work the ticket or technician. They work the ticket and post their time on it.
So you can increase the department's number of tickets by sending them to the fake phishing thing.
There you go. Well,
That's if they respond. Should we always respond to the fake phishing ones?
well,
Until we recognize they're fake phishing, does that help you?
well, so if you click, so I think clicking the phishing alert button is very valuable because it really helps us to show that the training is working. So any phishes that are out there, I would definitely highly recommend. If you say, oh, this is a phish, just click that phishing alert button. If it says this is a simulated phishing attack, you know, if it says that it was one of ours, then you get the gold star right there. And it automatically reports that back to the system and helps us to see how we're doing. If it's a real phish and not something that we simulated, then cybersecurity officer or anybody, if he's out, for example, it would be me or Mike. But we would go through and take that, do the research on the email, and then we can block anything from that email address. Or if it's another account and this has happened that has been compromised, like we have other different counties, different towns, villages. We had a fire department just a couple weeks ago that have compromised accounts. And so we get in, and you don't know, and they don't even know sometimes they're compromised. So that allows us to reach out to that organization and say, hey, looks like you've got a compromised account. Sometimes they know, but not all the time. And so it helps us to try to get ahead of the curve, and we can share that with the other IT directors for the counties too, which can help everybody stay protected better. So I would definitely say report as much as possible.
Terry, that phishing education that everyone's required to do.
Yes.
I did it yesterday and I have to commend whoever put that together because it's interactive. You feel like you're actually learning something
Yeah,
and not just because I aced it. But
That's
I
good.
But I aced it.
Oh.
But no, but I thought the training was really.
Have we got any gold stars?
Thank you.
Can give
Yeah.
her one?
No, I just, because I read that training, like I'm sure a lot of people did, but it was interactive and it wasn't painful.
yeah, we tried to mix it up this year, you know, and for all the new employees, they get the stock videos that everybody saw last year. But for everybody that's taken that video, our platform has some great smart groups in it. So we can say, if they already took this, then for this year's training, we're gonna do something more interactive and a little more fun to try to, you know, keep people interested. Because if you just sit there and mundanely watch a video, it's boring. So thank you for that feedback. That's really great.
So is this the same one you sent around to the rest of us to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for anybody that did the regular one last year, which are the videos, you know, the educational videos. The one this year consists of the fish alert button, which we still do, a game called the Hack Attack game. And I can't remember the other one that was in there, but the Hack Attack was the game that, you know, was, I don't know, tries to keep it a little more interesting. Be more interactive.
I thought it was interesting
And a
too.
gold star.
All right,
Great.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this matter? Let's move right on then to your cybersecurity.
Yeah, the cybersecurity report. I don't know if anyone has any questions on this, but Ryan included, we've had some conferences recently. He went to the NACO conference in Pennsylvania for AI, which he found to be very valuable. And just, wasn't last week, it was the week before, we were at the NYSLITA conference, which is right in Saratoga, which is the IP Directors Conference, and that was really good this year. It's usually pretty good. And, yeah, and we've got some more stuff coming up, but
What area state again?
what's that?
Conference just went to in Saratoga.
The NYSLITA? I know.
That's great with that thing.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, New York State and Local Government IT Directors Association, I believe.
There's a code.
Yeah.
It's so used to
I just
using.
want to see if you can say it twice.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And we pronounce it NYSLITA, but it doesn't really, you know, it's not really spelled so much like that. And just as kind of a little additional information, you guys may see some kids walking around. We've got BOCES touring today, for the IT. They come in quarterly. Well, quarterly, I shouldn't say, every semester with the kids in the BOCES program. So they're wandering around today.
Any more questions on cybersecurity report?
Yeah, why is there such a spike in March?
In which section?
Investigated and
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. That was the month that we did
Gold star.
our penetration testing. Yep. So that's actually, we were very happy to see that because we did our penetration testing that month. And so the platform that we pay for the notifications caught like tons of stuff. So it was really good. It was a test of all of our systems. It was really good. That's why there's so many incidents. Any other questions or?
Do you have any comments or statements you want to make?
I think I have them all.
Are we on other business or the cybersecurity report?
I think,
Well, when she is done, that's why I asked her that. If she says I'm all done, then we're gonna go to other.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure if you're ready to.
Yep.
Oh, no, you done. Other, Charlie.
Yes, I believe I read an email in the last day or two about the governor's proclamation of .gov sites and email addresses, and I wasn't sure if that meant small towns like some of ours are relaxed from it for now, or whether we have to comply. But are you prepared to help us get our .govs set up
Right.
if you're able to?
so I can help consult with you folks. I can't do it for you. So, but I can definitely give you guidance. I've spoken to a couple of town supervisors already, and anybody that would like to talk about those things, I will be happy to do. The .gov itself is a fairly simple process. It's everything behind it, you know, so then you have the website and then you have the email. And even if they're relaxed at doing it right now, I strongly encourage you all, even if you don't have to still take that step because I think it's very important. It's important for security. I think it's a great time to look at the websites that you folks have, you know, who they might be hosted with, and then also look at what you're doing for email. And if you're not already on a product like Microsoft 365, look at taking advantage of that time because setting up a new domain is the perfect time to make that move and get that all set up where you can start fresh. So I'd be happy to talk to any of you about it.
So I just completed my .gov transfer and basically that's not hosted. They don't host it. You have to have your own hosting solution.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
just the
actually pretty
registration.
simple to do to walk through. I use GoDaddy for email and they just took the domain and pointed across and it was easy because it's GoDaddy also provides Microsoft 365 as part of it. So.
And we do have some local vendors, you know, that I could refer you guys to as well, and that can help set up, you know, email or website vendors or those type of things.
What would your cost be?
Well, you have to buy email. I bought 3 years ahead of time for email for 6 email addresses. And it was like $1,000 for years.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find that there's huge expense in getting everything moved over typically, at least in these kind of things, and mailboxes even moving to 365. It's not huge, you know, the cost is not huge. It's depending on what will increase the cost is if you have to migrate data. Like say you want all your old email stuff migrated or those type of things, then that will raise the cost. To bring things over.
Any other questions for Terry on anything? Charlie, I commend you for raising your hand and you recognize nobody else did in this. Meeting adjourned. Yeah. No, I can.
First item of business is, accept minutes from April 22nd. Do I have a motion? So moved by Lynn, second by, Charlie Tall. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Yes,
Aye. Carried.
yes, Dean.
Board of Elections.
There it is.
Morning. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
You want to move around?
No, you're good. Okay.
I didn't recognize.
So first thing we have to, with our mail ballot grant, we purchased an envelope sealer, but we purchased it on a .4 contractual, so we have to amend our budget. We have to move it to, a .2 equipment. So we have to amend that to put on the correct line.
Any motion? With finance, motion by Sam. Do I have a second? Charlie.
So we fix that.
Any questions?
Are always envelopes .2? Is that?
No, this is
The
the
sealer.
equipment, the sealer. It's in a.
Machine.
the
Oh, it's a machine. I thought you said the
It's a big
envelope.
ton.
I didn't hear the
Yeah,
envelope sealer.
envelopes.
Okay.
Everything else.
What threw me
are
off?
.4.
Robert?
Can't we just save a lot of money by having like the
The paper cuts are terrible.
Come over and look as many envelopes as you want. We'll let you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Primary election, we have one?
Well, yes, the other elections got, they got wiped out for now, so, but we do have, in the 107th, it's, Cambridge, Easton and White Creek. We have to have a conservative, primary for, the 4th Judicial Convention for delegates and all. So you have to, at least it's not a full rollout, so it's just gonna be, the conservative for those 3 towns. But then we also have a Republican primary in the town of Easton for town council. So luckily, Easton is in the 107, so that'll just be, have to go out another spot. But being the 107th, we have to have our early poll site in the 107. And because Easton has the higher population, the Republican Party, we're gonna have it at Burton Hall, with the early voting site. Which thank goodness we don't have to have it where we usually have it at this point. And early voting starts June 14th is the first day, and it goes for the 9 days. Last day is June 22nd. And it consists of 8 hours, pretty much every day, 9 to 5. Monday and Wednesday are the late nights, it's noon to 8 at night.
So Easton has to provide the election.
We get our inspectors. Poll watchers is a total different. You know.
So Jeff, what do we think that primary will cost us roughly?
Well, we were just talking about that. One nice thing is, instead of 160 inspectors, that's where your most cost is the payroll. In a normal election, you're talking over $30,000 for inspector pay. Well, we figure $4,000 instead of,
For each, yeah, it's gonna be under
$30,000.
$10,000.
so.
So,
We're even just one truck instead of two trucks, and trucks are usually 1,000 a piece.
I was just curious. That was all.
We're gonna save at least close to $30,000. And plus we don't have the extra special election that we thought we were gonna have. So,
Good. Thank you.
Anything need from us?
Well, there's one other thing we'll discuss.
Hey, Jeff, is all three, you said there was 3 towns, but all 3 are gonna be a Burton Hall? Is that what you said?
No, well, that's for early voting. Election day, the normal poll. sites
Right, I
will
know
be
election, day, I'm talking
For early voting, yeah, Burton Hall. Because you gotta have the most populated voting, and the Republican Party is bigger than the Conservative Party, so.
Yep.
In the eastern, so that's where we're gonna have it. But on election day, it's the normal
Right.
poll
Al?
Jeff, do you have any update on the movement of changing the terms to the even years or whatever? I heard there was some action on that.
site. Yeah, and it's still gonna go into next year. It's gonna stay on even year as far as we just got that the other day. And it's gonna go into play. So
So anybody running this year is gonna.
it's gonna have to run next year.
But are they gonna appeal that?
I
This
believe
was,
so.
this was the appeal, right? This was the second stab at it.
I believe so, yeah. So it's pretty done deal. Unless they try it again, then.
Could you explain what to the whole board, what you just said about?
So in other words, any 2-year term, like the supervisors, they'll be on the ballot this year.
Yes,
They're also, so next year, you're gonna have to be on it again, get on to the, so next year you'll be on it for the regular 2-year term to get you on the regular even year cycle.
so really everybody that's running as supervisor this
Other than
year.
Putnam, because Putnam's a 4-year. So
will run for 1-year term.
1 year, and then they're gonna have to end any 2-year term, like if it falls like a town clerk, right?
Yeah, they're all up there.
Yeah, if it's a 2-year term, it's in like a 3-year term, or like a 4-year, it depends how they
Like
fall.
your clerk, treasurer and sheriff, their next term will be a 3.
No, it's, the county ones are
The
different,
county ones will be different.
yeah.
So this will take, if your town clerk is for 4 years, they'll be running for 3 years this year time. And then if it's your board members, they're running for 4 year terms, it'll be 3 years this time, takes a year off.
You gotta
So it gets
kind
them
of-
out to even year for
Right,
election.
you gotta look at it when it's gonna fall.
Right.
If it falls.
So all of your 2 years this year are
You got
1 year,
1 year.
all of your 4 years this year are at
3 years.
I got it. That won't be it for.
Just so it falls.
I thought I saw something.
Just so it falls, so
Yeah.
the next election cycle,
Any
they'll have
other
the
questions?
normal term, and they'll be the.
Any other questions on the election cycle? And you said you had something else.
I didn't know if we should say, discuss on mass here. The only thing, we have a concern now because today's the first day we start, independent petitions get filed, starting today to the 27th. And it's a nightmare over there right now with
It's getting in.
getting in and getting out of the
And
building.
then there's equipment in the way of the hallways and
You know, for the
we have
public to get in
no,
and out.
handicap access. And right now we have early, absentee voting machines
If they
set
wanna
up, but they
come in.
can't get in. No one will be able to get in there with a wheelchair or walker.
So this starts, I'm sorry, today.
Today, independent petitions start today, the 20th through the 27th. And it's just, they need to keep, you know, like the hallway, they have signs that come in the entrance. They come in the entrance and it's all cluttered
Pipes and
and they got stuff all over the floor. They need to keep that open.
I mean, looking back, not that we can reverse time, but looking back, I think what we probably should have done is discuss this earlier. And we
Well,
probably could have come up with some
well, you
kind of
know,
alternative. I don't know.
Yeah, we haven't
Well-
been informed of anything going on over there, so it's been kind
yeah, I
of.
mean, some days it's
Hard.
okay.
We
but
didn't even know
other
about the
days they got
parking
stuff
lot.
all
But to Melissa's,
Have a discussion.
to Melissa's point, if we knew we have an event coming up over there, we
over. Well, we
should,
do,
we know you have, so
You know that.
you should take initiative to
petitions,
ask.
we do, you know, every year, but we didn't know with
Yeah.
the timer, that's.
We'll look at it today and see if there's something we can do to make it.
It's all right,
better
as
for
long as
the
they
next
just keep that clear for
Yeah.
the
A path,
public.
Okay,
clear path.
all right, I'll follow up.
Okay. Carol, get some yellow ribbon I have clear
Charlie?
I would like to take a moment to comment on one of my townspeople were very impressed with your operation the other day because she wanted to run and she went out and got petitions and the amount of time you spent and helped make her understand the process. She was so delighted and impressed with you guys. I want you to know that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we try to go over everything. And we always tell them, have any questions, call us. We're gonna fill anything out, we're glad to help them. So we're there for them.
Okay. Any other questions for the Board of Elections? Thank you both.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
And County Administrator.
Let's see, the first item that I have is the updated vehicle use policy. And that's included in your packet. This was a policy that was already in existence. It was created, I think, about 10 years ago, right? Supervisor Hall, I think you were very involved in the creation of that. But it was just old and in an effort to update the policies and take a look at them, we reviewed it. We've made some changes just to make it a little simpler, I think. Easier to read. I'm just looking for approval to adopt that policy.
We've actually gone through, there's 3 policies. And we sort of consolidated a couple of them. And the others will be coming up soon.
The result in a change to the employee handbook. And that way, when you look at the employee handbook, it'll basically say to refer to the policy instead of there being information in 3 different places that you have to look for.
Any questions on this?
What are the major changes? Usually you highlight them.
A lot of it was just wording, honestly. It still addresses the same things, the fleet and the carpool, vehicle use.
Well, then, wasn't there some discussion about whether we could reduce the number of vehicles in our fleet? Did this address that in any way?
No,
This is not.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's a different study going on.
this is basically, just reminding employees how important it is to remember that you have expectations set by the public and the county as far as driving a county vehicle and what those responsibilities include. We always expect our employees to follow the laws, of course, but also, hold them to a higher standard. And that's all in the policy as well.
If we change, Dave, our carpool or our car policy, you say we're looking at that, is that gonna change this, or will that hold this regardless?
This should still fit, any environment we play in.
Okay.
Can you explain the IRS regulations and how that works for vehicle vehicles?
I'm not prepared to give you the actual section of the law, but there is a whole IRS guide about taxable fringe benefits. And if somebody has a county car that they take home, we charge them $3 a day for the benefit of that car. But it's more complicated than that. What happens is quarterly, they report to me how many days they use that car. Because like the foremen have it every day, 5 days a week.
Right.
So basically, the foreman in DPW will report to me 20 days a month times the $3 a day. What happens is I put that in, it's called a car allowance quarterly into their check. They're then just taxed on that amount. So the government just taxes that benefit. So they're not charged the $3 a day, but out of their paycheck, they're taxed the Social Security and Medicare on that $3 a day. So quarterly, they have to get taxed on the benefit of that, but it's still a huge benefit to whoever has that truck because it's no wear and tear on a personal vehicle, county car, county gas. So it's still a pretty good deal for those that have. Because I mean, it might be, I think Deb Downey, who's probably the highest one in the county as far as the number of days. And she doesn't find it to be, I don't want to speak for her, but my previous conversations with her alluded to the fact that it really wasn't, wasn't a real burden on the amount of taxes it took out of. I could probably look up what her, because she's an exempt employee, so I could look at what her check was before and after to show you the impact on that tax on a full-time person.
So.
Long answer to a short question, sorry.
I'm just gonna say I'd move it.
Moved by Sam, this has got to go to full board for approval, so you know, second by Lance.
Chairman, Sue first, please.
I'm sorry, okay, just a question, Melissa, I'm not, because only on matters of official county business. Is that, includes like BSS?
Is that under the fleet section? I'm sorry, I don't know what section.
It's under the Department of Fleet Cargo Window Use.
In the beginning.
The county employees that use for packages only on the matters of official county business.
Right,
Is that VSS? Vehicles too?
sure, yes.
And so how do you define county business?
Well, if they're in their role as a caseworker, then it's kind of business.
Yes.
So that, but if it's in their treatment plan, Al, is what you're saying, then that would be considered county business. There's no. You see what I'm saying?
If it's foster care, childcare, CPS, any of those duties would be official county business for sure, regardless of time of day.
Okay, so and service would be in there too, like medical appointments.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
So those would be any treatment plan.
If they're on the clock, right, it's county business.
So you're talking treatment plans for PSS people?
I'm
Or?
talking about treatment plans that usually are in place for people they work with.
Okay,
The documentation.
okay,
Is that?
yeah. Why don't we have gold stars here? Where are they? Come on. We don't have them.
Chairman, do we have, this maybe, do we have a list of who has a phone card?
Yes, so,
Oh, you're
I think you're
ready, so
laughing
you were
because
prepared
that's-
for this question.
I sent the email out this morning to department heads asking them, so that I could have an updated list, of who takes home a car, who has take home car assigned to them regularly, and then who sometimes takes a car home depending on circumstances that come up. Then I was reminded that, I sent the same request out a couple months ago and forgot that I sent the request out. But there have been some updates made. So yes, I will have an updated list of who has a take-home list, a take-home car.
So you have to, I'm just trying to understand the policy. You have people that take them home every day,
Yes,
and then you have people that take them home occasionally. Well, the ones that take them home occasionally, they have to be on the list to take them home. Otherwise, you gotta get permission in advance, so you've got quite a list of even the occasional ones. So what do you have, 2 columns?
So,
Well,
may I, or- so there's 2 things going on there, Mr. Shaw. So the approval people are the people who have a car assigned to them. The
right,
secondary ones that you're talking about are assigned to a department that may get sporadically used by an employee. They don't require approval of the finance committee or the administrator.
who do they need approval?
Their department head can allow them to take a car home that night. So if you have like a public defender that has court in White Creek tonight, that public defender can take a public defender assigned car to that court. And one way of that trip, if he takes that car home, is a taxable benefit. So I don't want to convolute the conversation, but the only ones that need approval are the ones who have a car assigned to them personally. Ones that are fleet cars assigned to a department do not require approval.
And that fleet car also includes carpool cars. They may have to sign up to go to a.
It would include a carpool car as well.
The part-time carpool car also has to supply you with the thing for the IRS.
Yes, so anybody who takes a county car home, that event needs to be reported to me, and sometimes it's only one way. Because they may have taken a county car to an event, which is not taxable. But then instead of bringing the car home, they took it to their home. So one way of that trip, that $1.50 is then taxable. So it's a little bit worse than it is. It's not that big a burden because not many people actually do it. Most of the take-home cars are assigned to a person, so it's easy to track.
Okay.
Those one-offs don't happen as much. Chairman, if I could, while I have my mouth running, can I suggest one change
No,
that I probably should have given you before
No.
today? Under mileage reimbursement for use of personal vehicles, the very first bullet says that mileage reimbursement for use of personal vehicle or work-related travel must be approved by the department head in advance.
correct.
I'd like a sentence added for when it is the department head. I would think that you'd want a department head to get approval from somebody that's not themselves. Maybe they have to go to you or the chairman. for
So
approval.
the reason that was in there, basically was for budgetary reasons, right? So I didn't want employees putting in for all this reimbursement that the department hadn't had budgeted.
Right.
In a department head situation, I would hope that that department would already have a handle on their budget and be able to know whether or not they have that.
But I just
It's
didn't
more
know,
for that reason than any of them.
I just didn't know if you wanted to give department heads the ability to approve their own request.
For reimbursement,
Yeah.
I would think they would just submit the reimbursement
Just
without
go-
any approval. I mean, I can have all the, but I don't know what that does for me to approve all the reimbursements unless someone disagrees with me. I just don't see the need.
So I was just, wasn't Cassie, she pointed out to me. On page 1, down under assigned take-home vehicles. There's the one that says assignments must be brought to finance committee by the county administrator for approval. I don't remember in the past 7 years ever bringing a list of it to approve.
Correct. So it was in the past policy, which we found when we looked at it probably several months ago, that part of the policy kind of fell to the wayside. And that assignments were being brought to finance. I think the last one that was assigned to a department head was brought to that department head's committee, and that was the end of it. So that's something kind of new. I wanted, reinforce that that's in the policy. So if there's any requests going forward, I'll be bringing that to finance for approval.
So they're not annual.
So is this an annual approval or not an annual approval?
I wasn't gonna put that in the policy. If you wanna see the list every year and approve it, I can keep bringing it back. But the one thing that in that discussion, or many discussions that we had, that came up was, that, someone could be assigned a vehicle, then all of a sudden they're not gonna be assigned a vehicle. And then they come back the next year and you assign a vehicle. Like, I'm afraid it could go back and forth.
Well, and
So we can't even,
You could take away a vehicle anytime you want to.
we can slap their hand and say no, and what difference is it gonna make?
but there are people that have a time for a reason. They're not just given a take-home car to have a take-home car. It's like emergency responders. They have emergency responders. They have people that are, as part of their job, like Matt Jones could be out there and have to go someplace all over the county versus coming back here and doing everything else. That's one of the reasons why we did that, to reduce the travel time. So I think when we look at the list, we'll see most of them are permanently assigned. And by virtue of position, not by virtue of need or want or the individual. So we took that list out because it could change. What Melissa pointed out was that the position titles could change. And we don't have to go back and rewrite the policy to do that. That would just go to finance and be approved. If we want to add someone, there's a couple that we have thought about adding that we would just have submitted finance for approval. It doesn't have to go through the process to go through and redo the policy again. We're trying to simplify.
And I can supply you with a list of, who has take-home vehicles anytime you want it.
In my time that I've been here for 7 years, we have always had the exact same titles take home cars. We've never added a title. We've actually subtracted one title. But we've never added any. That's why we never took it for approval. It's a very, very uncommon thing to have a take home vehicle. Extremely.
Thanks, Doug. Brian?
where Jay went, I don't know if he got his question totally answered. I think it's a good idea if annually it does come, just so the board's always changing, there's always turnover. It's probably good that everybody knows once a year who has take-home cars. I don't think that's a bad idea.
You can do it as part of the budget process, like your travel plan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's best for everybody, for the public to know and everybody here to know.
Well, being honest, you can give me your list once a year, 6 months from now, I'm not gonna remember. Can't speak for anybody else, but once a year.
But I mean, 6 months later, it's still
Can't even,
counting.
maybe even longer, less.
So is that a list you would like me to report to government ops annually, or is it a list that you want the department, do you just want them to mention it at their budget workshops? What would you like to?
And finance is the one that's in charge of it, I would just have it in one, whatever time of year you want to do it, finance, just bring that list, just make it known. And like, yeah, 6 months later, we'll forget, and 6 months later, we'll get reminded of it too, once a year. So it's a pretty good idea.
Probably that finance meeting where you present your budget is a perfect one to kind of. So it's kind of the same time every year.
Budgetary process.
Oh, that might not be good, because they might want to hatch it, people that probably need the cars. I'm just saying, once a year, you should probably remind everybody that people do have them. I think it's good for the public to know and for the board to know.
Well, it's good for the guy that does the payroll to know too.
He
Yeah,
already knows what
I
we don't.
concur with Brian, and I think it should be listed once a year and by you, not by the department heads, because if you do it by department head, they're gonna break this out and you're gonna get little increments all the way through. If you do it once a year, and according to Deb, if it rarely ever changes, you could actually put it in the handbook, the positions that get the car. And, you're not, don't have to worry about changing it all the time, and then it's on record,
But then it's a handbook change.
It's a handbook change, that's even worse than the policy change.
huh?
But the handbook change, that's even worse than the policy change.
Well, whatever is easier, I mean, and if you do
I
it
can
once a year.
report.
But the department heads make this stuff out for you anyway, right?
Do what?
The department heads are the ones gonna hand you the paperwork that you're asking.
Yes. Yeah, I'll ask for it to be updated.
Did we answer your question as far as whether it just comes to this board for review or goes to the whole board? I would say,
Finance.
okay, so it's just finance is gonna be the reviewing authority.
I suppose that's what you do.
Well, it's a planning authority.
I think it's pretty well in here, finances.
It's fine.
For a session, yeah.
Just wanna make sure it's going to someone.
That's not a piece of paper.
Any other conversation? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Was that amended in this motion that it would be brought finance?
No, the county treasurer is told to mind his business.
That too.
The great Alice spoke.
All right, where were we? Next item was
Easement consideration. For communication service.
communication service.
So I have a request we received from Slick Fiber. They requested an easement for a small amount of space on county property over on Perry Street, Hudson Falls. The purpose of installing a small connection station, approximately 10 foot by 10 foot area with a concrete pad. It's going to have a generator, an equipment cabinet to provide customers in and around Hudson Falls, Fort Edward with additional mode of connection. Approximately 6,200 locations, will be affected by this. So it basically is going to provide service to some people that don't have it currently, and also serves as a backup to cover areas if there's a break-in service. So it's an improvement. In discussions with Slick, they have offered to provide standard location connections for up to 4 county properties in lieu of using that property. And we can use that anywhere that Slick Fiber has service. This area was looked at by the Buildings and Grounds Superintendent. We thought that it was a space that isn't anything we would use and could be used by them and should improve the service to the public. So we have a contract. I don't know if the county attorney, I just sent it to Tim yesterday. I don't know if Dan has seen it yet. To review.
Since he's off, so he's back tomorrow, so.
Okay. Just looking for approval and then approval for the chairman to sign if you choose to approve it.
I'll move it. So moved by Sam, by second. You should put in there, should put in there, depending on review. and hearing. That's what you said. wasn't it?
It was, that's what I heard. I say.
Did you say 6,700 people are affected? What does that mean?
Let's see. Yeah, 6,200 locations. So I believe it's households.
So added.
No, not necessarily added, or will get the, receive the benefit of this backup, where they would normally lose service. It'll switch over and they'll get their service.
It's a redundant system. It's redundant, so if one fails, the other one kicks in.
That what we're done?
Yeah.
It's nothing false is serviced by Spectrum primarily.
So that's why I
Right,
think
so
it's given
what, where Slick is wireless, right?
Slick is
Fiber. So they're gonna take over Spectrum's line if Spectrum goes down, is that what you're saying?
You can't take over Spectrum's line.
No, it's their own.
So what's gonna do, is it gonna just offer somebody else an option?
That's more likely.
I didn't realize Slick had any wireless.
Well, my question, what I wanna lead up to, I'm trying to get an understanding of it. Are we giving Slick an advantage over Spectrum? And is this gonna benefit Slick? I'm wondering what kind of a game we're playing here. I'm just a little concerned about this, what we're doing.
The way I understand it, it doesn't benefit really anyone other than the people that currently have Slick and would lose their service.
And they're not paying any rent on it, space, right, is what you're saying?
They agreed to 4 connections for county use.
So that, we are gonna get 4 connections for that,
Yes.
okay. At least we're getting something out of there.
Yeah. What are the 4
Yeah, I think
connections?
that's what,
Or where
well,
are
I
the
was.
4?
Gonna be up to us, isn't it?
Yes, it'll be up to us where
Where we
we,
usually get taxed, just because you give them an easement, you don't forego taxes. All those places pay tax. As far as I know, I don't think they can put that there without it being taxed.
Yes, they do pay taxes.
What's that?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Utility,
So I
special
think just
connections.
because they're getting an easement, they're giving us something for the easement, letting us connect, they'll pay tax on that.
Correct.
That's the way I understand it.
Now, was that
Maybe,
question?
Usually, they don't, they
depends
pay
what
on
the
our
contract
towns.
says.
Well, they're on our towns, they're paying them.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is they're offering the county 4 hookups or whatever they do. Do we have any idea where or what them hookups be used for? Or, I mean, do we have Spectrum here now?
Yes.
So we could tell Spectrum leave and have Slick come in here without cost?
I'd like the ITs to answer that, but I think our usage, the hookup requirements way surpass everything.
But I wonder if it could be at like places like the Hebron Barn and stuff where they service. They
I believe
would have the
it
better
is.
answer that.
Oh, okay, I understand.
So
Yeah.
any place in the county, if there was 4 places that Slick service. Like the Hebron Barn potentially, right, could be a.
So it's a credit.
Okay, Dresden is Slick up there.
Right.
So if Dresden's barn, if they're paying for it now, that would be one of the 4
It could
spots. where
potentially
we
be
could-
in.
We'd have to ask for
Okay,
it because we're getting a privilege in our town specifically, which is available to any town, and someone would have to decide which town.
So it would have to be a county property.
Right.
oh, county
County.
property.
Right. So up to Putnam, they are in there.
Okay, I understand.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
okay, and then I have, 2 other items. Just wanted to mention, we've had some inquiries about where the food trucks are, because we're gonna start that beginning of May. It is starting today, so the food trucks will be out in front of the DPW shop between 11 and 2 o'clock today. Hopefully going through the end of October. We ran into a little snafu. We had 5 or 6 trucks originally, interested in providing lunch, to the public that was here and or the employees. There was a peddler's permit that for Edward, town of Fort Edward, put in place this year, which was a $50 application fee that the food trucks would have to pay, and then they had the option of $150 for 6 months or $250 for a year. We lost some trucks there that didn't find that worth their while. But it looks like we do have 2 trucks that chose to pay that fee, and will be participating in our Food Truck Tuesdays starting today. And then the other item I had that I wanted to make you aware of, I sent an email out, I think, to all the supervisors and to the village mayors as well as the department heads about a budget workshop that we have. It's called Structurally Balanced Budgeting Workshop. It's going to be held at the Sandy Hills Art Center on Main Street in Hudson Falls, and that's June 25th at 1 o'clock. This is an opportunity that I think a lot of us will benefit from. And in no way is it supposed to mean that nobody knows how to budget now, but it was very interesting information that was presented us at finance school last week. There was a gentleman named Dan Aquilano from the Office of the New York State Comptroller at finance school. And it was really valuable information that we think everyone would benefit from. So that will be in June, and I hope everyone can attend. We're really hoping to get a large participation rate for that workshop.
No,
If I can-
go ahead, Alan.
If I can just, my 2 cents, which you're used to by now. I highly, highly recommend, if you can attend, please attend. It is definitely some unfiltered information that I would love for you all to hear. It really takes the politics out of municipal budgeting and lets you know what fiscal responsibility looks like in lieu of political repercussions. It's a very, very unfiltered and worthwhile conversation.
So the first invitation, unless I had a memory here that wasn't there, you invited the town supervisors, obviously, and their budget officers as well.
Yes, if you have someone in your town that helps in your budgeting process and you'd like them to attend, just let us know how many from your towns you'd like to attend, just so we have an idea as far as seating and all that. But I'm hoping we do have 70 or 80 people, as we're prepared for, to attend this informational meeting. It should be about 2 hours. Sandy Hill Arts Center.
The old Masonic.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. Your report on that.
There is nothing from the buildings and grounds superintendent. I think there was a question though, at the board meeting last Friday, as far as the Middle Falls barn and that progress. It looks like, I think he said by the beginning of June or end of June, that will be ready to go. Let me just double check. June 30th is when they expect that new barn to be operational.
To report on that, I don't know how many people know. I come by there last night and like I had mentioned Friday, all the seating is down and fences are all up, everything. Somebody drove right across the middle of that new lawn around the fuel pumps and tore it all down.
Yeah, somebody couldn't help themselves and they destroyed the newly
Yeah,
seated.
destroyed it.
Yep. They did.
That is being taken care of. That is being taken care of.
There's
Well, I
also-
figured it would be, but I'm just saying it's sad. I wish they could have caught that person.
Well, there will be cameras on the barn,
Yeah.
very shortly.
Yeah,
They just hadn't been installed yet. And there was also some damage done by the storm. And Matt's working with the contractors that they're gonna fix some of the trees. I think we lost one of the newly planted trees that toppled over as well. But yes, the destruction is unfortunate.
All right, any other questions? Anything else come before the committee? And now, we're gonna do a 10-minute review. And Sam's gonna call personnel in order.
Yes, at this time I will call the Personnel Committee of the Washington County Board of Supervisors together on this 20th day of May, 2025.
We will also need a motion. Go into executive session. Personnel. What was known? First evaluation, personnel matters.
So moved.
Moved by Lance, do I have a second? Second by John.
No, I'm not today.
All in favor? All in favor?
You gonna join us, Mr. Campbell?
Personnel.